Coming at you from New Jersey, the capital of misery, and the place where metal forgot to die.
This is the Here Lies Metal Too Many Notes New Music Review. I'm Samantha.
And I am Maledictus. We shall be your overlords for today and all of eternity. Welcome. What's going on here today?
What do we got today?
This is called a band. The band is called Fleshrot with Unburied Corpse, which usually happens to an unburied corpse.
I think you can do that better.
Today we have Fleshrot with Unburied Corpse. That's how you have to say that, right?
That is the correct pronunciation.
Yeah, that's how you pronounce it.
It's foreigners like me will say Fleshrot, Unburied Corpse.
Fleshrot, Unburied Corpse.
Fleshrot is a death metal band formed 2019.
You don't say.
From Lubbock, Texas.
Oh,
you don't get a lot of bands from Lubbock.
We got Buddy Holly from Lubbock, so that's a band.
Famed death metal.
Yes, famed death metal pioneer Buddy Holly.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Fleshrot features A.B. on bass, Tanner on drums.
Just A.B.?
Phil on guitars and vocals, and Casey Garcia on guitars. So only one guy gets the last name, and one guy is only just two letters. So
A.B.
You know, maybe they're infamous around Lubbock.
That seems like a Texas kind of nickname. Hey, A.B., how you doing there, A.B.? You know?
Okay. Unburied Corpse, this is their debut full-length after a 2020 demo. Came out August 1st, 2022 on all formats except tape. Wait for it. Except tape on Mesako and Oho. However, it came out on all formats, including tape, on the stateside via Desert Wasteland Productions, which features an alternate art, interestingly.
I see.
All right, let's move on.
All right, so now it's time for what we do here, our expertise. It's time for the Here Lies Metal 5-point bi-directional classification scale, including the catalog's genre loyalty, listenability, production style, music complexity, and just plain fun. Neither side of these scales means good or bad. Let's begin. First category, true or nonconformist. What is it?
All right, so this is a one for true. Number one for prototypical old school caveman death metal. I don't know if we're still talking about caveman death metal. People are sick of that, but this is some caveman death metal.
Yeah.
We've got the down-tuned guitars. We've got big, dumb, chunky riffs. They play a lot of mid-tempo. Sometimes they bring the riff back slow, but they also have some sections that are approaching grind. I don't think they ever get there, but they get close in tempo and aesthetic to like a more grind, death and grind kind of thing. I would say the guitar, especially in the tone and the vocal style, seemed a bit Swedish style to me.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Kind of a bit of an entombed feel, for example. But yeah, a lot of good dive bomb guitars. We got, of course, drumming blast beats, death metal tremolos. It's got everything you want in there. It's number one for true old school death metal.
It's primitive. Next, we have Sonic Terror or Distorted Pop.
Terror.
What is it?
So it's death metal. So it's definitely we're getting a 2 for Sonic Terror. And death metal it must be in the Sonic Terror ends, obviously.
Of course, you can't have distorted pop death metal. It's not possible. It wouldn't be death metal. Speaking of that, there are very few examples of death metal albums exhibiting post-mortem concepts that are not Sonic Terror. I mean, think about it. Like, can you really write an album about decomposing corpses that's distorted pop?
You have the name Fleshrot.
Yeah.
Sonic Terror.
And then the album was called Unburied Corpses, right?
I could go either way.
Yeah, it's true.
Anyway, but you might notice I'm not giving them a 1 or even a 1.5. I'm giving them a 2, which is like, it's kind of in the middle ground. So it's kind of listenable as far as death metal goes. Because it's a riff album. And you've got, varied, interesting riffs. The riffs are dumb, but they are sick and they're engaging and they're good, which is why we're talking about this album. And I also want to particularly call out the vocal performance. I'm very picky. I feel, I don't think people talk about death metal vocals enough, and I'm very picky when it comes to death metal vocals.
Art.
And this guy really, he put some thought into it. Not only, he's got that kind of like, kind of LG Petrov style vocal, but he does a lot of like ghoul death rattles and like wails. And he's performing. He's vocalizing. I know some people don't like say death metal singers. He's vocalizing in like a cadence. He's got a rhythm. He's got a delivery. He's nice to listen to, and I appreciate that. So I want to call him out here, making this a more listenable and engaging album.
His vocals are artistic expression with all the noises he makes. But yeah, I want to hear a distorted pop band out there make a song about a liquefied corpse. You guys, the challenge is up to you. Any bands that make like normal music that's not death metal, I want to hear that. It's time for that in the musical timeline.
All right, our production scale of Fisher-Price to high production. What is it?
I'm going to give this like right in the middle, around the middle, 3.5. Now, and I think death metal generally, has I feel like death metal, a lot of stuff we listen has like a decent production. Like they don't really slack on production usually. It's not like a thing to really slack on production for a lot of death metal bands. It's above average here, I would say. I mean, it was obviously recorded in a studio, I would assume, with a band, right? And any album with a song that's about being restrained by your own intestines. I mean, you might think something like that might sound like Fisher-Price, but not quite. It's quite above average for such a concept, you would think, right? But all the instruments are well balanced, and the mix is well balanced. Bass is really deep, and the guitars are really deep, very down tuned, obviously, like that sort of in tune sound, like they say, very tuned down. The vocals. We were talking about the vocals before. Now that's an important part of the production here, because the vocals are very guttural, they're very primitive, but they're very crisp. You can hear all that gutturalness. You can hear all like in their guttural glory. You can hear every frequency in the guy's voice. There's nothing really muddy in there. It's recorded on a very clear microphone. You can actually. I'll say you can hear the inside of his throat in a way, because it's so clear. You can hear like every little crack in his throat.
And that's what I want to hear as a death metal vocalist connoisseur.
It's almost like you're an ear and throat specialist, and you're like, all right, like give me, make some sound for me. I want to check on your throat. Open your mouth. It's kind of like you were that. You were in that position. But all the instruments are clear. The two guitars are very clear. You can tell there's two guitars kind of doing different things. So these guys aren't slackers. The drums are nice and comfortably in the background. It's a good mix. It's pretty high quality, So, yeah. Yeah,
it sounds really good, but I will also say in here, it's definitely retro production. Does not sound like a clean, modern thing. It's old school all the way through.
Like high production for the 90s.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. So, is there enough notes, or are they too many notes?
I'm going to say this is a 3 for the correct amount of notes. So death metal naturally incurs a lot of notes. We've got blast beats. We've got, as I mentioned, some grindy sections. There's guitar solos in there, but none of it's like trying too hard or like trying to stick out or trying to make a big deal about itself. It's all just doing what needs to be done in the service of death metal, which is, I'm going to say it's a 3 for like correct amount of notes.
Yeah, I think death metal, for being as primitive as it is, there's still always a lot of riffs. There's always a lot of chaotic riffs. There's always a lot of notes in death metal. It's not doom. It's not lazy. It's not lazy, right? But he's got this police siren thing going on the guitar.
Well, I remember we were listening to this in the car, and you thought it was. I was like, is that a cop?
Is there a cop? Is that?
That's never a good feeling,
right? And because it goes, you'll hear it like in most of the songs. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you listen to this album. It's kind of dive bomby, but it's like slowly, like kind of like a like a parabola, But I guess like when we're talking about like disinterred, decomposing bodies. Being prepared for dissection illegally. The police might want to know what's going on. They might want to find out why. So maybe it's kind of part of the art that there's a police siren. I don't know.
They're investigating the unburied corpse.
Yeah, they're going to exhume the body. They have to exhume the body to find out how it died. Fleshrot is naturally keeping true to that standard death metal scale, as we spoke about before. They're true. They got that old school sound. All those death metal things you're supposed to do with the guitar. And otherwise, the songs aren't really monolithic in their BPM either. There's a lot of slow and fast changes within the same song, so they're very dynamic. There's a lot of speed changes. So that's kind of a thing right there. They're not lazy. I'll give you that. So yeah. So next, fun or focused? What is it?
I'm going to kind of give a middle score here of a 2.5 on the fun side, but I'm kind of not sure what to say. Like this is mean death metal, definitely, which would make it more serious. You know, like a lot of this riffy death metal, like sometimes it gets like kind of a bounce to it, or they get some more like friendlier sounding riffs. And I wouldn't say they ever get there. They're definitely a mean sounding band. However, what makes me always think of this stuff as fun, like when you have like a number one for true old school death metal, is like, you know, you're doing like a worship band for like, you know, the past and glory of death metal. Yeah. And that's just kind of fun. And I also just get this vague sense that these guys don't take themselves too seriously. Like they're not, you know, they're playing fun death metal. It's just fun, even if the riffs are mean. So
yeah, I mean, you know,
vague fun score.
I mean, you can't really be like nice when you're talking about like exhuming bodies and illegally.
Like what is our favorite song? Draining the liquefied
that's
remains.
my favorite. Yeah,
I'm not sure if that's my favorite song, but it's definitely my favorite title.
The title is
or maybe
everything.
Post-burial extractions.
That just means exhume the body though.
Wrapped
right?
in entrails.
That's a cool one too, because you're being choked by your own intestines. That's a very good picture there. You know, that's a very colorful picture. That should have been the album cover, like that. But.
Also, what I feel like makes it fun, because he is singing in that kind of style where you can hear it. Yeah. You know, you hear things like...
His voice is gory.
Like, laceration.
Yeah, laceration. I mean, you know, when you're singing about like intestines, you can't sing like this. You gotta be like intestines.
Well, a lot of people, they sing about intestines, they're like way down the gutter.
Yeah. You gotta really...
You can't tell what the fuck they're singing about.
Yeah.
You can't hear it. But this kind of death metal vocal, you can understand a lot of things.
That's the thing, you can understand...
Not everything, many things. And I think that makes it more fun.
Yeah, you understand what he's talking about. It's an interesting thing. But, you know, like draining liquid remains, I want to talk about that concept. I'm going to show you a picture here.
Let's get into this.
This is where they got that from. Like, this was a meme when they found some mummy and it was, like, liquefied and everyone was talking about, like, drinking it. Like, you know, I think this is where they got it from. You comment down below. If not, then make a song about this, because I think it's kind of a good concept. But, you know, the song titles clearly emphasize the disrespect of the deceased in a wide variety of well-known methods as explored in history. But judging from their levels of enthusiasm in the desecration of decomposed bodies, as they do in death metal, one could classify this record as fun, because how can you really be, like, focused about doing that unless you're like a real fucking psycho, right? Like unless you're like an authentic fucking psycho talking. But I don't think which I don't think you guys are, because you're from Lubbock, and Lubbock seems like a nice place.
Does it?
I don't know. Comment down below. Lubbock's nice.
We'd like to know.
Buddy Holly's from there.
We're gonna go to the Buddy Holly Museum.
Buddy Holly Museum, Lubbock, Texas.
All right, let's talk about the art. Now there is 2 artworks here. I do want to talk about the Misako Anoho art, though, which I think is the official version. The alternate artwork is done by Chamber Realm. Maybe we can show that briefly right here. But I couldn't find a credit on this, but it very clearly has Brad Moore's signature on it. So I'm going to say it's by Brad Moore, who has done a number of very cool death metal albums.
The background.
That does look like a watercolor background.
Yeah, but not this. Not this drawing. This can't be.
So what's happening
here? This is like a bunch of entrails. Like it's got more entrails than a body should have. Right? Because here's like the ribs.
It looks like we have someone else grafted onto somebody else's skeleton.
Oh,
like
it is
we
a
have
face.
The musculature of someone, maybe a lady. Looks like.
No, maybe it's the guy from from Blood Incantation.
What? No, that's an alien.
Is that over here? Like he's got the haircut. He's got the bald.
Oh, Paul.
Yeah, right. Maybe that's him.
And he died. No.
Well, he's just being a skeleton, right?
Paul would not be a skeleton. He would ascend into.
Oh, he'd be in space.
The cosmos.
Yeah. Oh, he's not a caveman.
This is just a skeleton.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very gutty.
It does seem to be fused with
there's
the muscular.
boobs here.
That's what I was saying. Is maybe that's a lady.
Yeah. No, there's a lady here inside him.
Yes.
Or her.
Maybe they're both ladies.
There's a lot of guts and intestines.
But yeah, so we've got this kind of skeleton fusion, and it kind of makes it like a worm or like a tadpole.
Yeah, it's like a tadpole. It's something without without formed legs.
He's got his hands out there like he's like double fisting something.
Oh yeah, he should have beers here.
He's got this in his beers.
Yeah, he should have like a beer.
This is definitely a beer album.
Yeah, sure.
So that would fit.
He's from Texas. Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know what's going on there, but it's like almost like maybe it's like a transporter accident in Star Trek. I don't know. That's what can happen to you.
I think it's cool they got Brad Moore to do their debut album cover.
Yeah, that's cool.
And their debut album's out on Misako and Oho too, which is pretty good pedigree. So you guys are really going for it, and that's cool.
That's right. Yeah, these guys are no joke, right? So, all right.
All right. In conclusion, I thought this was a really cool album. Obviously, if you're some kind of nerd snob who doesn't like death metal that sounds like other death metal or thinks there's too much death metal, then maybe you won't like this. But if you just want more old school death metal that's done really well, you're going to like it. And that's what I like.
This is called comfort death metal. That's what it's called.
It's called comforting.
Because you find an old sound you knew when you were young.
That's what exactly happened to me too, because I feel like I hadn't found a nice old school death metal album like this. Like, we've had some other death metal albums that are maybe a little fancier, but this is just like some dumb riffs, and I was like, this is what I need right now.
It's like someone's thinking back to the Entombed days. It's like, wow, it sounds like Entombed. This is awesome. It makes me feel like the 90s.
That's why I want to talk about it.
Yeah, and that makes retro things make people feel good. It's nostalgia from when they were young, and that's what this album is doing for some people.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't listening to death metal
when
I was
some old
in
dude,
the 90s.
Some old dude that was.
When I was very young. Yeah.
So you old guys out there that like gatekeep and stuff and yell at girls for wearing shirts. You probably like this, right? You'd probably like, this is awesome. It's a new band you'd like. Am I right?
I mean, they usually don't listen to new music, so.
Yeah, no. But if they happened upon this, they'd be like, "Whoa, when did this come out? The 90s, right?"
It sounds like it could have come out in the 90s.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, very cool. A very awesome debut, and cool. It seems like they're up and coming.
Yeah.
They should up and come.
Up and come. Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah. More reviews soon.
This has been the Here Lies Metal Too Many Notes New Music Review. I was Samantha.
I was Melody Dixon. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and visit us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, all the social media stuff. We're there. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and comment down below if you're something interesting. All right. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.